the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
The history, the most recent couple big running back trades in the sport, because we don't see it all that often, especially in their prime, like Jonathan Taylor. Jarrett, when you look at it looking like this is happening, who makes the most sense, and does the running back trade history for something like this make you wonder what kind of return the Colts can actually end up getting at this point in the process?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how the Colts will say they expect a first-round pick in return for Jonathan Taylor, yet they won't pay Jonathan Taylor. We wonder why NFL running backs are so angry. The team that makes the most sense, I think it's the team that most people were linking to Dalvin Cook. That's still the Dolphins. Like, if the Dolphins go out and get Jonathan Taylor, sure, I'd like that. The team that I want to see, just for the pandemonium, like, if I'm Howie Roseman, I'm speeding to the phone. And I think that if...
What picks do they have?
Do they have a second this year? I don't know off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, I think it's going to take more than a second, because it's going to take more than Christian McCaffrey. They said that.
Well, here's the thing. They're not going to...
Do we believe that, though?
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get more than Christian.
He's a younger version of Christian McCaffrey, and he was the leading.
But is he a better player than Christian McCaffrey? The best version?
I don't think.
Is he a better? Go ahead.
Honestly, I don't think, like, is he better than Christian McCaffrey? I don't think that matters in this context, because I think the thing that's going to hold up whichever team ends up trading for Jonathan Taylor is they're going to have to pay Jonathan Taylor, and that's going to be a part of this. He's asking for a big contract. That's the reason why the Colts are going to trade him, because he wants a big money contract that the Colts aren't going to give him, which is dumb in my opinion. But when you're examining a Jonathan Taylor trade, is going to be anything like Christian McCaffrey? I mean, sure, it might be, but the thing about McCaffrey was he'd already signed his deal. He wasn't coming up for a big contract. That was something that a team could eventually restructure if they wanted to. You're going to have to pay Jonathan Taylor a lot of money.
So, JP, based on what we've seen with the Christian McCaffrey trade being probably the most recent example, what do you think, if you had to guess on August 21st, what do you think trade will end up being? And do you think the reaction around the league and analysts and fans will be like, oh, that seems about fair? Or do you think there's no way that the Colts are able to get pretty solid return here?
So, first of all, I do think there are a few teams I think are going to be in on Jonathan Taylor. The first one is Los Angeles Rams. If there's any team that is willing to just throw picks at a player.
They don't have any.
They'll throw whatever they got. And they actually
28 first-round pick.
They actually do have a first-round pick, I think, this year. They have a first-round pick in 2024 and a first-round pick in 2025. They can do this trade if they want to. And I think it makes sense, especially for, like, of course, we don't think they're going to be competitive. But if the Rams...
Not everybody on this podcast.
If the Rams actually do think... If they do the thing that I think they're going to, which is change the offense from more zone to more gap-based of a scheme, offensively, Jonathan Taylor does that a whole lot better than Cam Akers and is much more explosive. So, and there's a history of them going out and getting guys like this and then paying them top dollar. That makes a whole lot of sense. To me, the first team that I thought of as someone who should do this is the Chicago Bears. I think they should absolutely be on this. The biggest thing about Chicago, especially for their offense this year, is you have to find some way to generate explosives in the run game without having to run Justin Fields 25 times a game and getting him destroyed. That's what Jonathan Taylor can do. I don't think drafting Roschon Johnson and signing Deontay Foreman to a one-year deal dissuades me at all from making that deal. And plus, they have a lot of cap space. They're not going to be paying anybody anytime soon. That team is not good. So unless they plan on, like, keeping Darnell Mooney around for a long time and giving him a big money deal, like, it makes sense. They just gave Cole Kmet $15 million a year, or like $13 million a year. You can give Jonathan Taylor that amount of money. Like, I think Jonathan Taylor is more valuable to an NFL offense than Cole Kmet. But I do think
not unless Cole Kmet is blocking because Justin Fields is trying to not die.
that is very true. That's true. Very good blocker. The one team that I think quietly should make this trade is the Baltimore Ravens. I think
that's a fantastic
he
shout.
adds Jonathan Taylor adds a level of explosiveness that, of course, Keaton Mitchell just got hurt. That was arguably their most explosive back, and he was a rookie. We don't know what J.K. Dobbins is going to look like. He's still recovering from another injury. Gus Edwards, as much as I love him, doesn't have that level of explosiveness as Jonathan Taylor does. The only problem there would be how much you're going to pay him, but I think the Ravens should absolutely try and swing this if they wanted to. Now, as far as compensation, I think it's difficult, but I do think he's going to end up getting a first-round pick. It's not going to be multiple. I think it might be a first-round pick and then multiple seconds or thirds. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Colts don't get a day one pick out of this and get multiple day twos and push.
If the Colts get the best deal, who do you think it's from? If the Colts end up getting, if you had to look at it, who gives the Colts the best deal, and you would be the least surprised they gave them the best deal after it's all said and done?
It's the Rams. The Rams would absolutely do this. They have the picks that are willing to get screwed. Let
me as a guy who would love to see the Rams fail in life, let me just be the voice of reason real quick. We just watched the Rams successfully trade away everything for a Super Bowl ring. And they did it. And it worked. For whatever you can say now, it worked. They have a Super Bowl ring. I don't know if they're going to do that again right now, knowing where they're at, knowing that a Super Bowl is not likely. Jonathan Taylor is not going to help them win to the Super Bowl. Jonathan Taylor wouldn't get them to the playoffs, no matter what Chase says.
Well, counterpoint, if Jonathan Taylor ends up getting traded to the Rams and the Rams aren't competitive, they don't make the playoffs, who better to ease a transition from the Rams' current core of Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald into the future, whatever future quarterback they end up bringing in, than having an elite running back in Jonathan Taylor. This doesn't just have to be a short-term, this is only for the winning now thing. Jonathan Taylor can help a team win years down the line. And if they don't end up trading that first-round pick they have in 2024, they can trade the first-round pick they have in 2025 if they wanted to. But you can still stay in the QB sweepstakes this year and trade for Jonathan Taylor if they wanted to.
I'm not the only thing I'll push back on is in terms of the Rams doing it. I'm not saying they wouldn't do it. The only thing that would rub me the wrong way about them doing it is if you are a team like the Rams who doesn't have a good roster right now and you're giving up future, if you're trading a first round pick for a running back right now when your roster already isn't good, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that's just horrible roster management and horrible management of draft capital at that point. I'm not saying they wouldn't do it. I'm saying it'd be stupid if they did.
They weren't good at drafting anyway.
No, they weren't.
It makes sense that they would do this trade. I also think that if you're able to keep that 2024 first round pick and say they trade the second and the third in 2024, and then maybe the second or the first in 2025, I would take that trade. I think I
have a scoop for you guys here.
If they keep the first round pick next year, then I could listen to the argument a little bit more, just because if they are in the QB sweepstakes, they can still get a guy for the future and still have he's Cooper Kupp still there. You got Jonathan Taylor, so you got two guys on offense that'll complement them well. It's just if they were to trade their 2024 first for Jonathan Taylor, I think that would be a horrible waste of that.
No, I don't think they're going to trade the 2024 first. I think they know where they're at now.
Okay.
If they end up trading the 2024 second round pick,
I can get on board with that a little bit.
And then the 25 first or the 25 second.
And they have their first rounder. They have their own second round pick as well. They have their own third round pick. They have their
When's the
own
last time they
fourth round
had their
pick.
own first, second, and third round picks? It's got to be since 2016 or something.
It has to be something crazy.
It's got to be since the golf draft.
Yeah.
That was what,
pre-Sean
2016?
McVay. Yeah.
Yeah. When was Rob Havenstein drafted? Because I thought they drafted him in the first round.
Rob Havenstein was a first round pick?
I'm trying to figure out if he was a second round pick.
Okay.
Okay.
but it was 2015. So that was the year before golf. So yeah, it might actually be 2016.
That's crazy.
I love this. Also,
Jeff Fisher
I have a
was the
scoop
head
for you
coach
guys.
the last time this happened. That is absurd.
Guess
All right, go
what
for
the
it.
mascot was for Jonathan Taylor's high school team, Salem? They were
What
the
was it?
Rams.
Oh my.
Look at that scoop.
Les
So-
Snead is
this
on
is-
the phone right now.
You don't have to Photoshop him in a Rams uniform. Just go back to his high school tape. It's right there. Now though,
Wouldn't it be hilarious
Yeah.
though if Les Snead and the Rams do it again though?
I would be okay with it.
Just trade
Who
for
cares? You
another
have
team.
Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford. You might as well
Yeah.
just ride this out. Like, just
Yeah, no.
keep throwing it.
I'm
Who
not
cares?
against that style of team building. They've shown it works. I'm saying it would be absolutely hysterical if in this, this era of football coverage where everybody's obsessed with the NFL draft and scouting players, if Les Snead just literally just keeps saying those picks, I'm gonna get proven talent. You guys can enjoy your war rooms. I'll see you. back in the
Diversity is
playoffs.
good, and I like teams doing different things. And I
I
like
do
the
too.
Rams just being like, burn the ships, burn the picks. I don't care.
You
Like,
know
I
what
don't
would
care.
be really funny is if Jonathan Taylor was traded to the Giants. that would be the funniest outcome of this entire thing. I would have to know what that Zoom call was like that Saquon Barkley called, and then the next meeting between Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley in the same room. I'd be so pissed if I were Saquon. Like, what are you doing, man?
And then they pay Jonathan Taylor. And then, like, that's just part of it. And Saquon has to ride it out for a year. And then he just, oh my God. That
Okay,
would be.
we talked real quick. Hold on. We talked about the most likely fit
Uh-huh.
of the people that is most realistic. I think I know the answer. I think it's
Ooh.
the Ravens. But who do you think the most like who has the best chance of having a Christian McCaffrey 49ers trade season?
That's
of
what I'm
Jar-
gonna say.
I feel like it's the
We've talked about
Rams.
this before.
Okay, could you stop? Can we have an adult
Okay,
conversation?
okay.
Can we have an adult
Let's
conversation,
pump the
Chase?
brakes
Can we not
on
talk
the
about the
Rams.
Rams?
Let's pump
I
the
think in
brakes on the
terms
Rams.
of
The
Christian
Rams are sitting over
McCaffrey
there with two broken
situation,
legs and two casts, and you're like, oh well, this guy should be next man up to get on the trampoline. Can we have an adult conversation, Chase?
I'll set it out. I'm sorry.
I
We put
think
on
in
some
terms
Van
of
Jefferson highlights.
if we're talking about a Christian McCaffrey like situation of a guy who makes an already good team great offensively, this one might be a little bit out there. No, maybe not. See, I was gonna go crazy, but they don't have the money for this, so forget I said anything. Baltimore would make the most sense out of the teams we've talked about. I was gonna get frisky and say the Bengals just for shits and giggles, but they've got too much money to tie up in their own guys right now.
Yeah.
The answer here is the Miami Dolphins. If it were to
Sure.
be like a Christian McCaffrey like level of making a good team, like a great team, like a Super Bowl
Absolutely.
favorite, it's the Miami Dolphins. They want to be more efficient in the run game. They showed they can be efficient in the run game. Of course, it was a preseason against the Texans. You can small potatoes it if you want, but them being more efficient in the run game matters, especially if they're going to be so efficient throwing the ball downfield and they're going to continue to be explosive that way. You add Jonathan Taylor to that offense, that run game becomes incredibly more efficient, more explosive. You really end up being in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
How much
I
do you
don't
believe in their
think
offensive line to get that done, though? Because, I mean, Teron Armstead's already dealing with injuries. I mean, do you believe in their offensive line enough to be able to establish enough of a run game to make that work?
When Teron Armstead's healthy, I think, sure. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic about how their run game looked. I think Isaiah Wynn looked great in the preseason game. I think Austin Jackson looked much improved. Robert Hunt is one of the better run blocking guards they have on the team. I'm in. I think if it does end up being the Dolphins, it makes sense for them to have like a McCaffrey style of like, we added this player and now we are a Super Bowl favorite, which makes sense considering like how much of the Niners is influenced, like the Niners influences in the Miami Dolphins offense. But I still just think the best spot for Jonathan Taylor to both be competitive and potentially get the money that he's asking for is the Ravens.
Can I tell y'all the dark horse here?
Go ahead.
Speaking of the Niners, this guy used to be in the front office in San Francisco. He likes to run the football. They don't have a wide receiver room. they're a team that's fighting the inevitable, but they have a very strong identity. They have a run first identity.
Don't do this. I'll
He's
leave the
getting
call
really
right now.
old. We're nearing
I
the
will-
end.
I will leave this call.
They have a chance for 16 years of elite running back play in a row that we've never seen in this league. The Tennessee Titans transition
think
from
you're
Derrick
crazy.
Henry to Jonathan Taylor.
I think you are insane.
If
That's
you think
not
that they're
gonna happen.
trading Jonathan Taylor within the division, you are off your rocker, my friend.
Remove the division out of this.
You can't.
You can't. What are you talking about?
Are you serious?
Why do teams care about that? I don't know why that matters.
Because
I would
I
never
don't
do
want
this
to
as a GM.
I don't want to play the guy that actively hates my team two games out of the year.
Who cares? If you get a good trade, you get a good trade.
And then he proceeds to dunk on you for 2 games out of the season.
I'm less worried about that with a running back than I am a quarterback. Quarterback, I maybe would be a little bit more cautious of.
That's because
It's a running back.
quarterbacks don't get traded.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about it.
The last time
Who cares?
remember
Anthony
something
Richardson,
like,
if he's him, it doesn't matter.
the last time I can remember something like that happening in terms of like a very known player getting traded within their own division.
Yeah.
Probably have to be the McNabb trade going from Philadelphia to Washington.
That was a big one.
That's
Yeah.
it. I also have to see what Derrick Henry's contract looks like because I don't think that he's like.
I think he's the second highest paid running back in terms of money per year.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when his contract is up. Like,
Isn't
I
it
don't
up next
think-
year?
I think it's next year. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna.
We're
I
at the
think
end.
with-
Because that was the thing with Tennessee throughout this offseason that I was talking about, because they didn't really have any more money tied up in Tannehill. Next year they're going to be, without Derrick Henry in terms of being off his contract. Like, that's why I preach all offseason. It just made sense to trade both of them and blow it up and embrace the rebuild, but they didn't.
They're not gonna trade Derrick Henry. I don't think.
Well,
they're not
I'm
gonna-
obviously not now, but like
Does he
back
get a
in
statue?
March.
In Tennessee, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he gets a statue.
Wait, really?
I think he
Yes.
gest a statue.
yeah, he'll get the
A
statue of a very
statue?
good player that helped a team accomplish nothing.
Yeah, he'll get like.
Wait, hold on. Wait, okay, listen. I'm a Derrick Henry I'm a big fan. Best friends Titans fan for his whole life. How do you